These are my top 5 reasons I like living in China. Number 5, complete immersion to learn a new language. What I mean by this is the introduction of smartphones and Google Translate and AI and has really made it far too easy to have a crutch to communicate with each other. Although it has bridged communication gaps with people you may have never had a conversation with, so it is good in that aspect. When I was here in 2012, everyone was eager to learn English. That has all changed. It wasn't entirely unusual to see parents nudge their child forward to practice their English while walking down the street past you, which made for kind of an awkward exchange. Usually by that time, you were exhausted from your workday and you had nothing left. So it was almost like a big ask for you because you had taught all day and it's like you were working overtime and you almost felt like you needed to be paid for anything extra you had to give. That being said, that rarely happens nowadays. Yeah, they have a crutch now with Google Translate, with AI, and back when I was here in 2012, I had written down everything like directions, the food I wanted to eat, and how to take a subway, how to take a cab. This all being said, one of my goals in returning to living in China again was to level up my Chinese. I still believe total immersion is the way to go in order to get anywhere with the language. It was quite a different experience in 2012 because I would write everything down on that piece of paper, and if I lost that piece of paper, I was lost because you couldn't speak to a taxi driver, you couldn't ask for directions, unless you had memorized what was on the paper. So a lot of the time when I was commuting, I'd be trying to memorize everything that was on the piece of paper in case that piece of paper ever went missing. Because if it did, I'd be entirely lost. Number 4. Since the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing, China has made a concerted effort to clean up their country. And my wife can absolutely attest to this. In 2009, when she was living here, just a short walk from her school she was working at to her apartment, she would come home and blow her nose into a tissue and open it only to see a tissue full of black soot. Fast forward to today, and things have changed dramatically. Just look at the transportation sector. With a major push to electrify both public and private vehicles, a significant portion of traffic now hums quietly along instead of sputtering out nasty exhaust. As of 2024, nearly half of all car sales in China were electric. This transformation is especially noticeable in the taxi industry. You can literally hear the difference. This is very interesting in contrast to Vietnam, which is still like 30 years behind China. We recently visited Vietnam, and right away you can see they are a little bit behind. Everybody's still honking, and everybody's still on gas-powered scooters, and they don't even have the infrastructure to carry their population right now. They're working on it. They just got their first subway line in Ho Chi Minh City, adding in stricter emissions regulations, clear energy incentives, and greener urban spaces. It is clear that China is taking air quality seriously. You still might get the occasional smoggy day, but compared to the past, it's like breathing in a different country. In a city of around 24 million people, you would expect Shanghai to feel very congested, along with gridlock, honking, and road rage. But that's not the case. Of course, it helps that Shanghai has one of the most extensive metro systems in the world, only second to Beijing. And with trains running like clockwork, you'd almost believe that subway delays are a myth created by other cities to feel better about themselves. And because so much of the action in commuting is done underground in the subway system, that frees up the streets for people to walk and ride their bikes. Number 3, safety. Because there are cameras everywhere, everyone follows the rules. If somebody breaks something, steals something, hurts someone, runs over someone, it's all caught on camera. So everybody is accountable. So people follow the rules. Nobody is messing with the system. Freedom comes with a cost. You are being watched, which should kind of be the way it is with the way things are right now. If you can't get away with it, if people are watching you, if you are accountable, I think it tends to steer you in the right direction. I mean, what behavior are you not wanting people to catch on camera? A childish behavior, one that you should have outgrown by now as an adult? I've seen lots of videos that are posted by foreigners who are living in China, and as an experiment, what they'll do is they'll put their iPhone down on a park bench or on a picnic table and walk away, all while being recorded, only to have a Chinese person walk by, notice that the phone is there, and the Chinese person won't pick up the phone. They won't actually physically pick it up and bring it to the person. They will chase after the person to tell them you've forgotten your phone, which I find really interesting. Maybe it's because the cameras are all watching and they don't want to be seen as the criminal in the video. And I've done this myself. It's actually encouraged by like owners of coffee shops in China to just leave your laptop there, because it turns out that the bathrooms are not actually in the restaurant. You have to leave the restaurant and go to a different building to use the washroom. So you have really no choice but to leave your laptop there and trust that no one's gonna touch it or steal it, and they don't. And you'll tell a coffee shop owner that you're leaving, and they think it's kind of weird that you're afraid that someone's gonna take it. Probably because they're like hyper aware that everywhere there's cameras watching. You really don't need to worry like that. Also, if you're a woman living in Shanghai, whether you're a foreigner or a Chinese woman, it's perfectly safe to go well late into the night, into the late hours of the morning, and not have to worry about your safety, because everything is being recorded. And if there's not a camera looking at you, there's likely a security guard looking at you or a police officer looking at you. And what's really funny, or what I find really interesting, is that you rarely see police cars with their lights lit up. You rarely see a lot of emergency vehicles moving around, and you rarely see like fights on the street or just any type of interaction that would be uncomfortable in public. Like the biggest thing that security guards will kind of go after is if you like double parked, or if you're riding your scooter in the wrong lane, you're going the opposite way you should be going, you can get ticketed for that. So everybody pretty much just follows the rules, because not following them would be stupid, and people would kind of make fun of you. They would record you and upload you to TikTok. Number 2, the cost of living. If you want to buy anything other than food, you're going to have to use China's version of Amazon, which is called Taobao, which is extremely convenient. And if you can't find it there, you're going to have to go downtown Shanghai, which again is going to take you about 45 minutes to get to. Let me put some costs into perspective. To rent a share bike, that's going to cost you about 1.5 RMB, which is about $2.80 Canadian. A bowl of soup will cost you about $6.30 Canadian. A 2-hour subway ride is going to cost you just under $2 Canadian. And a 3-kilometer taxi ride is going to cost you about $2.70. For the same taxi ride in Canada from downtown Vancouver to the Richmond airport will cost you close to $80 Canadian, just to put it into perspective. And because Lingang is so young, it doesn't have all the amenities of downtown Shanghai, so it forces you to spend less, but then there's always the option of using China's Amazon, which is called Taobao, which can be extremely convenient. It's pretty incredible to think Shanghai has a population of 24 million people and change, and Taiwan has a population of about 23 million people in a landmass that is almost exactly the same size as Vancouver Island, where I'm from, where the population there on Vancouver Island is only about 850,000 people, which is the population of the city I am currently living in Lingang. And everything looks very new here, and I didn't realize this when we moved here, but Lingang is very young for a city. I asked somebody how old it was, and I think they had said it was about 5 years old. So they move very quickly when it comes to construction in China. It's quite remarkable, mind-blowing if anything. Number 1, disconnection from all the drama in the rest of the world. What I mean by this is it's entirely up to me if I want to find out what's happening politically in the rest of the world, more specifically the US. I find certain policies that are being carried out, well, let's just say, less than polite. Canadians are peacekeepers by nature, but it's hard to keep that friendly, peaceful demeanor when your neighbor across the border is picking fights with other countries. Since having a double stroke in 2021, I've had to make a concerted effort to take care of my mental health, particularly when it comes to anxiety. So living in China has actually offered me a bit of a buffer. With VPNs being a necessity to use the internet, I can control which media I want to engage in and which media I don't want to engage in. It's not about burying my head in the sand, but it's how I choose to consume news. If something truly important happens in the news, I can trust that my family will light my phone up like a Christmas tree. In short, I'm not disconnected, I'm just curating my sanity one headline at a time. Why don't you ask yourself, would you jump at the opportunity to have a switch to turn off social media if you could? Have you ever lived abroad? Have you ever lived in China? What was that experience like? Good? Bad? Let me know in the comments below.